It's 3:17 a.m. You're behind the counter of a lonely 24-hour truck stop on a dead-straight highway in rural Kansas. The only light for miles is the flickering neon sign that says, Lone Pine Truck Stop. Coffee is burning in the pot. The fluorescent lights are buzzing like angry insects, and the only other person in the entire building is your coworker. The guy who's worked this exact shift for 15 straight years. He turns to you, smiles that same calm smile, and you suddenly realize he hasn't blinked in the last 20 minutes. Actually, now that you think about it, he hasn't blinked properly in weeks. And that's when it hits you like ice water down your spine. The man standing 3 feet away from you isn't human. And if you've ever worked a night shift, you know how wrong everything feels after 3 a.m. This is the true horror story that still makes my hands shake when I tell it. Sent in by a listener named Ryan, who swears on his life that every single detail actually happened. If you work nights, you need to hear this right now. Ryan was 27, freshly laid off from his warehouse job in Wichita, behind on rent and desperate. The ad said, Night Clerk, Lone Pine Truck Stop, $18 per hour plus overtime. Must be okay with isolation. Most people lasted 2 weeks and quit. Ryan needed the money too badly to care. He showed up on his first night at 11 p.m. The owner handed him the keys and said, Frank will show you the ropes. He's been here forever. Just don't bother him too much. Then the owner left, and Ryan was alone with Frank. At first, Ryan thought Frank was a legend. Mid-50s, salt and pepper beard, same faded flannel shirt and trucker cap every night. He moved slow, spoke quiet, never complained. Knew every regular driver by name, remembered their coffee orders, even asked about their kids. Customers loved him. He tried to ignore the weird feeling. That didn't last long. Frank never ate, not once. Every shift, Ryan would heat up a burrito or grab chips. Frank? Nothing. Already ate before I got here, he'd always say with that calm smile. One night, Ryan came back from the bathroom and caught Frank standing completely still behind the counter, staring at the wall of beef jerky like it was a window into another world. No phone, no movement, just staring for almost 4 full minutes. When Ryan cleared his throat, Frank turned around way too smoothly, like his neck didn't have bones, and said, Slow night tonight, huh? With a smile that didn't reach his eyes. He brushed it off, until one night, he checked the security cameras. Ryan was in the back cooler when he glanced at the monitor. Frank was standing right next to the register, but on the screen, the counter was empty. For a split second, the feed showed nothing where Frank should have been. Then the image glitched, and there he was again, smiling at the camera like nothing happened. That's when Ryan started keeping a secret list. Frank never used the bathroom, not in 6 months. His eyes reflected the fluorescent lights like a cat's, just for a split second when he turned his head. He could hear a semi coming from miles away. He'd say, Big Pete's early tonight, 30 seconds before the headlights even appeared on the horizon. And once, when Ryan dropped a whole rack of energy drinks, Frank caught 3 cans midair without even looking. His hands moved faster than humanly possible. Ryan told himself it was nothing. Night shift does weird things to your brain, right? But then the night everything changed. It was a Thursday in late October. A freak ice storm rolled in around 2 a.m. Power flickered once, twice. Then the entire truck stop went dark, except for the emergency generator lights that painted everything blood red. The highway was empty. No trucks, no customers. Just Ryan and Frank. Ryan was in the back cooler restocking milk when he heard Frank's voice from the front counter. But it wasn't talking to him. It was talking in Ryan's own voice. Perfectly. Repeating a phone conversation Ryan had with his ex-girlfriend 3 nights earlier. Word for word. Ryan froze. His heart hammered so hard he could feel it in his teeth. He crept forward, staying low behind the snack aisles, and peeked through the gap in the magazine rack. Ryan leaned closer, trying not to make a sound. For a second, nothing moved, and then it looked directly at him. Frank was standing under the red emergency light, and his face was wrong. The skin around his jaw was sliding like warm wax. His eyes were too big, too black, reflecting the glow like an animal caught in headlights. For one horrible second, the thing turned its head 180 degrees, neck twisting with a wet crack, and stared straight at the exact spot where Ryan was hiding. It smiled, a smile that showed too many teeth. Ryan didn't breathe. He didn't move. He watched as the thing's shoulders rippled under the flannel shirt, like something underneath was rearranging itself. Then, in a voice that was suddenly Frank's again, calm, friendly, human, it said, "Ryan? You okay back there, buddy? Storm's getting bad. Might be stuck here a while." That was the moment Ryan understood. He wasn't working with a man. He was working with something that had been wearing Frank like a costume for 15 years. Something that had learned every habit, every mannerism, every little human quirk, so it could stay hidden in plain sight. You ever feel watched at 3 a.m. when you think you're alone? Yeah. Now you know why. From that night on, everything turned into psychological torture. The thing would casually mention details about Ryan's childhood that Ryan had never told anyone at the truck stop. It would hum songs that were playing on the radio in Ryan's truck on the drive-in. Once, when Ryan was on the phone with his mom in the back room, the thing walked past and whispered the exact same goodbye she was saying at that exact second. Think about that. How does something know what your own mother is saying on the phone before you even hear it? Ryan tried to quit the next morning. The owner just laughed nervously and said, "Frank will be disappointed. He likes you, says you're a good kid," then offered him an extra $3 an hour to stay just a little longer. Ryan stayed. Not for the money, because he was scared what would happen if he tried to leave. The final night came during another storm, this one even worse. Power went out completely. The generator died after 20 minutes. Total darkness, except for Ryan's phone flashlight. He was trapped. He found Frank standing in the middle of the store, completely motionless, facing the dark windows. No light, just standing there like he could see perfectly in the pitch black. Ryan's voice cracked. "Frank, what are you?" The thing turned slowly. Its face was almost Frank's, but the proportions were off. Nose a little too long, eyes a little too far apart. It smiled that melting smile and said in Frank's voice, "I'm what keeps this place running, kid. Night shift gets lonely. People get scared. They need someone steady, someone who never leaves. I've been here a long time, longer than Frank was." Ryan backed up until he hit the counter. His hand closed around the baseball bat they kept under the register. The thing kept talking, calm as ever. "You're thinking about running. I can smell the fear. It tastes good. But you don't have to be scared, Ryan. I like you. You're useful. Most people quit before they figure it out. You stayed. That means you belong here now." Ryan swung the bat with everything he had. It connected with the thing's shoulder and stopped dead like it had hit solid steel. The creature didn't even flinch. It reached out, grabbed Ryan's wrist with fingers that felt ice cold and way too strong, and leaned in close. Up close, Ryan could see the skin moving under the surface. Tiny ripples like something crawling just beneath. The eyes weren't eyes anymore. They were holes. Deep, empty holes that reflected every fear Ryan had ever felt. "You can leave when the sun comes up," it whispered, breath smelling like old coffee and something metallic. "But I'll still be here tomorrow night, and the night after, and the night after that. Someone always needs the night shift." Ryan doesn't remember how he got out. He remembers running through freezing rain, slipping on ice, diving into his truck, and driving with the gas pedal to the floor until the truck stop lights disappeared in the rearview mirror. He never went back. He quit over text and blocked the number. 2 months later, he heard the truck stop was still running fine. Frank was still there, still smiling, still working the night shift like nothing had happened. And that's the part that keeps me up at night. Next time you walk into a 24-hour store at night, take a second look at the guy behind the counter. Because one day, you might realize the guy behind the counter has been there longer than anyone remembers. If you've ever had a night shift story that made you question what was human and what wasn't, drop it in the comments right now. I read every single one. And if this video gets 10,000 likes, I'll drop another true night shift horror story next week that's even worse. Make sure you're subscribed and the bell is on, because these stories only get darker. Stay safe out there after dark. And whatever you do, don't get too comfortable with the guy who never seems to leave. This was, he worked the night shift, but he wasn't human. A true horror story. Ryan, if you're watching, thank you for trusting us with this. Until next time, sleep with one eye open.